We're going to go ahead and dive into our NHL slate, and this is a massive slate of games beginning at 1 o'clock. So anyway, let's go ahead and dive into those and kind of restart the program here because we are going to break this video into two separate videos. So anyway, we're going to start the show out with giving a big shout out to LSU Vante 256, who went 4-1 in our premium selections on patreon.com/Brock Page yesterday. That's going to improve our record to 82% in our last 29 daily double picks. You can find all that information on my website at patreon.com/Brock Page. Now we're going to go ahead and dive into a massive slate of NHL action. All starts Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to begin with the Oilers taking on the Rangers, 1 o'clock Eastern puck drop in New York. The Rangers are minus 130, total 6.5. Saw a half a point move upward on the total. Not a whole lot of movement on the sides, though. We got the Rangers minus 130, total open 6, up to 6.5. 53% of the consensus leaning toward Edmonton, 77% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Oilers are plus 110 on the money line. Rangers plus $1.90 on the puck line. Now, Edmonton is 4-0 straight up on the year, 2-0 away from home. They're averaging over 4 goals per game. Meanwhile, New York on the other side, losers in 7 out of their last 10 at home, dating back to last year. They're also just 2-8 in their last 10, taking on a member of the Western Conference. Now, total-wise, Edmonton 3-1 to the over thus far in the year, 2-0 to the over on the road. I'm leaning toward the road dog in this one. Give me the Oilers plus $1.10 and the over 6.5 goals in that game. Next matchup, Lightning, Senators, 4 o'clock, Ottawa. The Lightning are minus 260, total 6.5. 76% of the consensus is leaning toward Tampa Bay, 86% shaded toward the over. Right now, Ottawa's plus 220 on the money line. Tampa Bay catching even money, laying the goal and a half. Now, Ottawa is winless on the year. They're 0-3 straight up on the season, just 1-6 straight up in their last 7 at home, hosting the Lightning. Their defense is allowing 5 goals per game on average. Now, Tampa Bay on the other side, they are averaging just slightly under 5 goals per game. They are 7-3 in their last 10, taking on the Senators. And when it comes to the total, Tampa Bay 8-2 to the over in their last 10, taking on Ottawa. They're also 4-0 to the over on the season. I'm going to lean Tampa Bay Lightning minus 1.5 and the over 6.5 in that game. Next matchup, Predators, Kings, 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. Los Angeles, Nashville's minus 165, total 5.5. Saw a 15-cent move toward the Preds, no movement on the total. Nashville open $1.50 up to 165, totals 5.5. 71% are leaning Nashville, 77% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Kings are plus 145 on the money line. Nashville plus $1.70 on the puck line. Nashville winners in 6 out of their last 9 in Los Angeles. They're also 3-1 straight up on the year, averaging just under 5 goals per game on average. Now, the Kings on the other side, they're giving up nearly 6 goals per game. They're just 3-6-1 in their last 10 head-to-head matchups with the Preds. And when it comes to the total, the Kings are 5-0 to the over in their last 5, taking on a Western Conference opponent. Give me the Nashville Preds, minus 165, and the over 5.5 in that game. And before we go ahead and move on, just want to take another quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines of personal leans out for Saturday's NHL action. Happy Saturday to you. The weekend is finally here. We've been waiting for it all week, and thank goodness it's here. Because if you're like me, you hate your job in real life. No, seriously, I hate it. I got problems. It's not a good situation. But anyway, we got to go ahead and move on with this program. And I got to remind you guys to check me out on my website at patreon.com/Brock Page. Maybe if we get enough subscribers, I could quit my stupid real job. But anyway, got to give a shout out to LSU Vante 256, who went 4-1 on Patreon yesterday in our premium selections. That's going to improve our record to 82% in our last 29 daily double picks. There's also plenty of free content there as well, including my current record. But basically, on that Patreon website, we do daily plays. We have different memberships, packages, and tiers, and they begin at just $1.99 per month. Link for that site is in the description section below. A lot of winners on that site you're costing yourself valuable information each and every day you're not subscribed to that site. That is patreon.com/BrockPage. All right, let's go ahead and dive back into some more lines and personal leans for NHL. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got the Devils taking on the Bruins. That's going to be a 7 o'clock Eastern puck drop in Beantown. Boston's 210, total at 6. 40-cent move toward the Bruins. They open $1.70 up to 210, totals at 6. Jersey plus 175, Boston plus $1.20, laying the goal and a half. Boston 3-1 straight up in the year, 7-3 in their last 10, taking on Jersey. The Devils on the other side, averaging just 2 goals per game. They're winless in 4 contests this year, 0-2-2 officially for the season, and they've dropped 7 out of their last 8 at the Garden in Boston. Now, total-wise, New Jersey 3-1 to the over on the road. I'm going to lean Bruins minus 1.5 and the over 6 goals in that game. Next matchup, Blues, Canadiens, 7 o'clock Montreal. The Blues are minus 120, total 5.5. No movement on the total, so a nickel move toward St. Louis. The Blues open $1.15 up to 120, total 5.5, 62% leaning toward St. Louis. The Blues are 3-0-1 on the year, 2-0 on the road, 6-3 in their last 9 in Montreal. The Canadiens on the other side, winners in just 1 out of 4 contests this year. Their defense is giving up nearly 5 goals per contest. When it comes to the total, Montreal is 3-0-1 to the over. I'm going to lean Blues minus $1.20 and the over 5.5 in that game. Next matchup, Blue Jackets of CBJ taking on the Hurricanes, 7 o'clock Carolina. The Canes are 185, total at 6. Saw a 15-cent move toward Carolina in the early betting. Carolina opened 170 up to 185, totals at 6. Columbus is just 1-3 straight up on the year. They're averaging just 2 goals per contest. Meanwhile, Carolina on the other side, they're undefeated. Winners in 5 straight this year, 5-0 straight up on the season. Their defense is allowing less than 3 goals per contest on average, and they are 5-0 straight up in their last 5, taking on a member of the Eastern Conference. Now, total-wise, Carolina 9-0 to the under in their last 9, taking on CBJ. I'm going to lean Carolina minus $1.85 and the under 6 goals in that game. Next matchup, Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Red Wings. 7 o'clock Detroit. Toronto's minus 180, total 6.5. Toronto's 2-2-1 on the year, 2-4 in their last 6, taking on a member of the Eastern Conference. And I see an error in my work here. Sorry about that, guys. Just have to cross something out. Once again, Toronto minus 180, total at 6.5. Toronto's 2-2-1 on the year, 2-4 in their last 6, taking on a member of the Eastern Conference. The Red Wings on the other side, 3-1 against the spread this year. And of course, when I'm referring to the spread in NHL, I'm referring to the puck line. So once again, Detroit covering in 3 out of their last 4 puck line plays. They're also 5-2 straight up in their last 7 at home. Total-wise, Detroit 6-40 the over in their last 10, taking on Toronto. We've been tailing this Red Wings team on the puck line like almost every day. And we're going to continue to do it. We're going to continue to pound it. Give me Detroit plus 1.5 and the over 6.5 goals in that game. Next matchup, Panthers. Islanders, 7 o'clock Long Island. The Islanders are minus 115, total 5.5. Florida's 6-1-3 in their last 10, taking on the Islanders. They're also 4-1 in their last 5, taking on the Islanders as well. Now, New York is averaging just 2 goals per contest. They're 0-6 in their last 6, taking on a member of the Eastern Conference. When it comes to the total, New York's 2-1 to the under at home. Florida 6-2 to the under in their last 8, taking on the Islanders. I'm going to lean Panthers minus 105 and the under 5.5 in that matchup. Next game, Winnipeg, Chicago, 7 o'clock Windy City. The Blackhawks are 125, total 6.5. Actually saw a 10-cent move toward Chicago in the early wagering for some reason. Chicago opened $1.15 up to 125, total 6.5. 61% of the consensus are leaning toward the Jets, 76% toward the over. Winnipeg plus 105 on the money line. Chicago plus $1.95 on the puck line. Chicago's 0-2 on the year, gave up 9 total goals in those 2 games. Winnipeg on the other side, 3-2 straight up on the year, 5-0 straight up in their last 5, taking on the Blackhawks. When it comes to the total, Winnipeg 7-2 to the over in their last 9, taking on Chicago. Give me the road dog in this one. I'm going to lean Jets plus 105 in the over 6.5 in that matchup. Next game, Penguins, Minnesota, 8 o'clock, Minnesota. The Wild. They're minus 120, total 5.5. Nickel move toward the Wild. Minnesota open $1.15 up to 120, total 5.5. 76% leaning toward the Penguins. Right now, Pittsburgh is catching even money for an outright win. Meanwhile, Minnesota plus 215, laying the goal and a half. Pittsburgh 7-3 in their last 10, taking on the Wild. Their defense is allowing just 2.5 goals per contest on average. Meanwhile, Minnesota on the other side, winless in 3 games on the season. They've also won just 3 out of their last 16 at home, dating back to last season, if you're into historical trends. Now, total-wise, Minnesota, they're averaging just 2 goals per contest this year. I'm going to take Pittsburgh, catching even money, and the under 5.5 goals in that contest. Next game, Capitals, Stars, 8 o'clock, Dallas. The Stars are minus 115, total 5.5. Nickel move toward Dallas in the early wagering. The Stars open $1.10 up to 115, total 5.5. 62% are leaning Capitals. Right now, Washington minus 105 on the money line. Dallas plus 235, laying the goal and a half. Dallas winners in just 1 out of 5 games this year. 1-3-1 straight up on the season. They're averaging under 2.5 goals per contest. I'm going to lean Capitals minus 105 and the under 5.5 in that matchup. Next game, Coyotes, Avalanche. 9 o'clock, Colorado. The Avalanche are 155 total at 6. Saw a 10-cent fade of Colorado in the early wagering. The Avalanche open 165 down to 155, totals at 6. 77% are leaning Avalanche, 82% leaning toward the over. Right now, Arizona's plus 135 on the money line. The Avalanche plus $1.55, laying the goal and a half. Colorado's 3-0 straight up on the year, 6-4 in their last 10, taking on the Coyotes. Meanwhile, Arizona has scored just 5 goals in the first 3 games this year. They're averaging less than 2 goals per contest. When it comes to the total, Arizona 3-0 to the under. Obviously, I'm going to lean Colorado minus 155 and the under 6 goals in that matchup. Next game, Flyers, Canucks, 10 o'clock, Vancouver. The Canucks are 120 total at 6, so a nickel move toward Vancouver. They open $1.15 up to 120, totals at 6. 51% are leaning Philadelphia, 58% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Flyers are catching even money for an outright win. Vancouver plus 215, laying the goal and a half. Vancouver just 4-10 in their last 14 at home, taking on the Flyers. If you're into historical trends, that goes back a couple of seasons. Meanwhile, Philadelphia 2-0 on the year, gave up just 3 goals in those 2 games. When it comes to the total, Phillies 5-2 to the under in their last 7, taking on the Canucks. The Canucks are 7-1 the under in their last 8, dating back to last year. Give me the Flyers catching even money and the under 6 goals in that contest. All right, next and final matchup for the show, it is going to be Flames, Golden Knights, 10 o'clock, Vegas. Golden Knights are 145 total at 6, so a 15-cent move toward Vegas. Golden Knights open 130 up to 145, totals at 6. 66% are leaning Vegas Golden Knights, 57% leaning toward the over. Right now, the Flames are plus $1.25 on the money line. Golden Knights plus $1.80, laying the goal and a half. Vegas is 5-3 in their last 8, taking on the Flames. Their defense is allowing just 2.5 goals per contest this year. Meanwhile, Calgary on the other side, averaging just 3 goals per contest of scoring. They've also dropped 6 out of their last 8, taking on a member of the Western Conference. Total-wise, Calgary 5-3 to the over in their last 8, taking on the Golden Knights. Give me Vegas minus 145 and the over 6 goals in that game. All right, let's go ahead and slide into our quick pick recap brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage. We got Philly catching even money in the under 6 goals. Golden Knights minus 145 over 6 goals. Colorado minus 155 under 6 goals. Washington minus 105 under 5.5. Pittsburgh catching even money under 5 and a hook. Winnipeg plus 105 over 6.5. Detroit plus 1.5 over 6 and a hook. St. Louis minus 120 over 5 and a hook. Boston minus 1.5 over 6 goals. Florida minus 105 under 5 and a hook. Carolina minus 185 under 6 goals. Nashville minus 165 over 5.5. Tampa Bay minus 1.5 over 6.5. And last but certainly not least, Edmonton plus 110 over 6.5 goals in that game. All right, let's go ahead and slide into our shout-outs brought to you by, once again, myself at patreon.com/Brock Page. Once again, big shout-out to LSU Vante 256. Shout-out to Aaron D., Ken Cunningham, Stephen Lewis, Aaron Patterson, Jonathan Gonzalez, who just killed a 4-team parlay for $3,100. Congratulations, John. We want to see some more of the same. We want to see you keep that going. Press it up. Let's go ahead and make $1 million. Let's get the job done. All right, shout out to Niles King, who very quickly congratulated Jonathan Gonzalez on the win. And Niles King, that's what this channel's all about, man. I appreciate you supporting your fellow Brock Page delegates. Gotta love it, Niles King. Great job. Good stuff out of you. Shout out to Roland M., Evil Dax, Nick Master, Tom Taylor, Ronnie Christie, East Up Lou, East Money Money, Jerry, we the best. No, Jerry, you're the best. Shout out to Calico Jones, Drew Bear 76, Brian Chu, Little Taco, and last but certainly not least, got to give a shout out to my man, Devontae Davis. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Once again, don't forget to check me out on my website at patreon.com/Brock Page, where we went 4-1 in our premium selections yesterday for Friday night. That's going to put us at 82% in our last 29 daily double picks. There's also plenty of free content on that site, including my current record. We do different plays, packages, and memberships on that site, beginning at just $1.99 per month. It's a great group of people. We share a lot of comments, share a lot of stories, share our plays, our leans, all that good stuff. It's a great site. It's a great group of guys that are over there, and gals. There's women on there too. So check it out. Guys, you're missing out each and every day you're not subscribed. Anyway, patreon.com/Brock Page. That is what I'm talking about. Most importantly, though, guys, I got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free, content, all this great free information. Happy Saturday to you. Thank God it's Saturday. Thank God it's the weekend, because we all hate our jobs. I really do. I hate it passionately. Happy Saturday to you. Best of luck to you. And don't forget to check me out on my website at patreon.com/Brock Page.